Wayne, my head is spinning right now. I mean, I don't know which angle to hit this from. I mean, I really respect your view. I know you write for Infowars.com, but I did not visit WayneMadsonReport.com. I just thought of you this morning and said, let's get Wayne on and see what he thinks. So, Wayne, I don't know if you mesh with our concerns or if you augment them or you disagree. But I mean, what are you thinking is happening?
Well, you know, at the very least, here we have another death of a high-ranking federal official in the state of Texas and no Texas autopsy. What happened, you know, from 1963, where the local medical examiner in Dallas said President Kennedy's body cannot leave the state of Texas until an autopsy is performed here. There was a botched one conducted later at Bethesda by the feds.
And the brain disappeared.
Yeah. But so where have we gone in the last 53 years since that? Because why was it important to keep President Kennedy in Texas for an autopsy, but it wasn't important to keep Scalia in Texas for an autopsy? And, you know, I know the family said they didn't want one done, but there was these suspicious circumstances. Obviously, who is this John R. Poindexter? He's not the one from Iran-Contra. People have made that mistake. That's retired Admiral John M. Poindexter. But who is this guy? Apparently, Scalia did not have a past close relationship with him. It's not like where Scalia and Cheney both went to that other ranch to hunt quail, where Cheney shot his lawyer a few years ago. So there are some, but the sure way to create questions is to not conduct an autopsy. Now, to Democrats who say they, you know, good riddance to Scalia, I would point out not only was there one icon involved in this situation in Texas with no state autopsy being performed, but two other Democratic icons died suddenly, and again, no autopsy was performed. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the President of the United States, died in Warm Springs, Georgia in April 1945, and can you imagine the President had no autopsy perforred on him?
And the word is they killed him, and of course we also have Woodrow Wilson, not a good guy, but he wrote a letter saying, I'm going to oppose all this globalism. I got conned, and the word is he got poisoned.
Yeah, and I would also point out that Adlai Stevenson, the Democratic candidate for president, twice in the 1950s, dropped dead. They said of a massive heart attack in London. He had just met with the Prime Minister, Harold Wilson. Yet, because two governments were involved, Britain's and the United States, there's some question about that autopsy as well.
Well, let me ask you a question. We got Princess Diana, and then it came out they murdered her, even the autopsy, and then they had a King's Commission or Queen's Commission say it wasn't. You know, formerly you've been in the NSA, you've been in the naval intelligence area, you've been in all these different facets, you've reported on national security for 30 years. You're one of the first big NSA whistleblowers, so knowing how inside baseball works, either they screwed up so bad and he died naturally, and they did everything perfectly to make it look like he was killed, just magically this happened, or they killed him but want everybody to then know they killed him. We found a pillow on his face. We came in 2 hours after breakfast and had a bad feeling. I mean, it's made to look like they killed him.
Yeah.
I mean, is that a threat to the other Supreme Court people?
Well, I'd like to know where the U.S. Marshal Service was. Now,
it says that he didn't want his security. He just magically went down to this narcotics, corrupt Democrat-run area on the border, and then he just magically, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Right, but the U.S. Marshal Service is like the Secret Service for the president and the candidate.
They're not supposed to follow those orders.
Security.
They're not supposed to follow those orders, exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, he has marshal protection when he's in Washington, and why did it lapse when he went down to this ranch in Texas? They did quote the Marshal Service saying they hadn't initially investigated his death along with the FBI and concluded that there was no foul play. Now, that was in the initial report. Why would they even say anything about foul play?
Exactly. There you go.
Because, especially with no autopsy.
Let's be clear. They helicoptered in a federal marshal about 5 hours after he was found dead, and within 30 minutes, I've got the timeline. We're doing a story on it because they call a TV station to make the announcement, but Obama was told 2 hours before. So an anonymous federal marshal said it's not foul play, which is totally suspicious. It's natural. No autopsy needed because he's now a coroner.
Right, exactly. And if you want to start, it's like every other situation. If you want to start a raft of conspiracy theories, don't do an autopsy. So, you know, if they're complaining now about all these theories being bandied about, it's their fault. They should have cleared it up immediately. And that's not to say that you can believe an autopsy either. You know, it depends on who performs it. And in this case, because
remember Fahmy Malek and the Clintons and
and you know that this particular county but you've got basically a justice of the peace determining what the cause of death was. This woman who's
that's like having a gardener doing brain surgery.
Yeah, I mean, so we got this justice of the peace named. Her first name is Cinderella. It's like a fairy tale, just like Cinderella. So yeah, there's what do people like?
What about the changing of the story, Wayne? I mean, you know, he died of natural causes, heart attack. Well, are you a doctor? Well, it wasn't a heart attack.
Yeah, I mean, all that would have been thought by professionals being present, and that would have been certified.
And that's what everyone does. You call the police, the cops know their job, an ambulance takes them into a medical examiner to decide whether there's going to be an autopsy. They ignored all the default systems, the law.
That's right, and these ranches seem to, when people, there's an incident on one of these quail hunting ranches down there. Remember, they withheld Cheney shooting his lawyer for like all overnight. We didn't know about it till late in the next day.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on those ranches. Stay there, Wayne Madsen. Incredibly smart guy, folks. I won't get near those Texas ranches down there. I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but everybody knows about the ZZ Top song LaGrange. They got some nice girls. Folks, I'm Alex Jones. This is the InfoWar. We're going to break. I have skip breaks, you name it. I am out of control. We got to fund our operation. We have a George Washington special running just for the next 24 hours. 20% off all the 1776 Patriot apparel, T-shirts, Molon Labe, all of it. InfoWarsStore.com, InfoWarsLife.com, 24 hours only. And citizen rule books, constitutions, famous quotes. These are at cost with bulk purchases on President's Day. Anthroplex is about to sell out, so that special 15% off is over. You can sign up for auto ship and still get it, but it's about to be totally sold out. But we're going to bring in a super male and super female vitality special this week, 20% off, unprecedented. You've heard the rave reviews for super male and super female vitality. Now it's 20% off. No excuse to try what this has done for myself and others. I mean, wow, my life is so much better since I started taking this 3 years ago. I've lost 70-something pounds. Everybody's seen the difference. This is just what God gave us through Mother Nature. InfoWarsLife.com, and your funding funds the tip of the spear, and they hate you funding us. They demonize it. Continue. We salute you. InfoWarsLife.com. Careful what you wish. All you Democrats calling for murdering conservatives and having a tyrannical takeover. The Republicans trying to give Obama dictatorial power, martial law power, so they have it when they get in office. Careful what you wish. You just might get it. Wayne Madsen's our guest. So I didn't know the law degree. You also got a medical examiner and coroner's degree, which is an MD medical license. But now, I mean, normally folks would pass the buck and say, we don't know why he died, might be natural. There'll be a coroner's deal. Medical examiner will decide. No, they were like, natural causes immediately. Everything's fine. Go to sleep. Everything's wonderful. Here is the clip. Texas Judge Scalia died of natural causes. Top elected official, well, that's a medical degree. In fact, if I ever need any surgery, I'll just go to the mayor and ask for it. Top elected official in county where Anthony Scalia was found dead says the U.S. Supreme Court justice died of natural causes, a heart attack. And then they changed it to Texas funeral home manager says Scalia's body has been taken to an airport and will be flown to Virginia. Let's go to that clip.
Since there were no signs of foul play, then no autopsy was ordered. My only concern was to make sure that everything was done right, and I did.
Done right. So she said it was right.
Did my own investigation, which included talking to his physician, And after talking to his physician and from what I was told from the U.S. Marshal and the sheriff that was there with no signs of foul play,
he was dead with a pillow on his
that
face.
is how
Well,
I
that's an
came to the
autopsy.
conclusion that, in fact, this was in all probability a natural death.
Okay, in all probability, great. Autopsy, investigation. But no. We didn't have a security detail. He's dead. Could it be he died naturally, but they should have been there? So now they just don't want to debate it? Wayne Madsen?
Yeah, I mean, this is why there's going to be questions raised, because, you know, so he's taken to a funeral home. Was he embalmed at the funeral home? That means even if they decide later to do a post-mortem, there's going to be a lot of clues that are going to not be discovered. So, I mean, the thing is, there's more chain of custody on a bag of pot that's caught by the police and found by the police in somebody's car than there was on an associate justice of the Supreme Court.
There's more chain of custody with a bag you check at the airport than this.
Exactly. So, you know, these are the questions that are going to be raised, as they're raised in every case where there's a situation where non-professionals, and certainly this judge down on the border.
But you heard her. She did an investigation into medical stuff. I mean,
yeah, and she said in all probability. That doesn't sound like a hard and fast.
That's why you have laws about medical examiners, because we don't go off what you think, lady.
That's right, and I've investigated enough deaths over the years to know that medical examiners and my God, funeral home directors who sometimes have a double duty as a county medical examiner. These are not the people that are qualified to conduct these postmortems. So, you know, there will be questions raised, as there always
Let me ask this. I don't want to put you out on a limb as you're a journalist, but what does your gut tell you? I mean, the instant reporting, the instant attempt to bury him, the instant attempt to criticize anybody that asks questions, does this not stink?
Well, my gut, when I first heard the report last night or yesterday afternoon, was that, you know, 79 years old, overweight, maybe not in the best of health. Okay, but not with the lack of an autopsy and this thing. Even the Washington Post dwelled on the pillow on his head, and when the Post does that, you got to say, wait a minute, you know, because the Post has always been in the position of covering things up for decades now, and so yeah, that raises a lot of questions. So I'm suspicious.
All right, Wayne, stay there. I want to come back and get other angles on this, play some other clips, and then hit some other news with you. Then Paul Watson's joining us. I'll also open the phones up so folks can give us their take on what's happening here. Maybe Hillary did win 6 coin tosses in a row. Maybe she did lose New Hampshire but still won. Blocking Obamacare, attempting to repeal it, trying to block the open borders, trying to block the gun grab, trying to block the carbon tax. He was about to hear them all and shoot them down. And he's dead after he didn't bring a security detail to a Democrat-run ranch in the middle of nowhere in southwest Texas. It's been called, even by Democrat operatives like Axelrod, a seismic shift, the biggest development in the 2016 election. And as Wayne Madsen, investigative journalist for Infowars.com and WayneMadsenReport.com, pointed out, with people like Roosevelt, people like Kennedy, you name it, they have botched or don't have these autopsies. And I said Saturday night, they're saying no foul play evidence. That's totally creepy. The first announcement from an anonymous law enforcement caller to a TV station, didn't want their name on that. Just incredible. And then we're not supposed to ask any questions. And then they say, it's a heart attack. Well, how do you know? Well, we don't. It wasn't a heart attack. This is absolutely over the top. And then on Infowars.com and YouTube and on news articles, I was reading the comments, Democrats going, I spit on his grave, more conservatives need to die, blah, blah, blah. You know, Scalia wasn't perfect by a long shot. But compared to Kagan or Sotomayor or Lynch at the Attorney General's office, who just is about as American as Mao Zedong, I mean, he was an angel compared to these people. So we are in so much trouble right now. And I hope they didn't kill him. I mean, it looks like a classic cover-up. It's like a movie. This is so ridiculous. But for the general public, if it is a murder, it's just meant to just dumb you down. But for those in the know, it's a big open threat. But David Knight, co-host of this show, getting ready for the nightly news tonight, he was talking to me during the break. I said, well, just get on camera here before we go back to Wayne Madsen and give us your take and the different angles on the situation. I mean, what did you think, David? I know you like to be a journalist and go with what you can prove and where things go, but, you know, it's like if Bernie Sanders' plane blows up. I mean, statistically, Hillary had him whacked. I mean, that's the first suspect. It's like if a convicted 3-time child molester moves in on your street and your 5-year-old disappears and his MO is grabbing 5-year-olds, the first thing you do, you probably go over there and knock his door down. You're so upset thinking, your kid's probably in there. You know, or maybe not. The point is you're a prime suspect. This corrupt system that's been caught committing so many crimes, murdering people, saying they can kill citizens whenever they want if the president says so, NDAA, they're the suspects. They're the prime suspects. We'd be crazy not to do that. But mainstream media, they've got literally hundreds of articles bashing me and others saying we are insane to even want an autopsy. So I guess this is the end of autopsies. David Knight.
Well, you know, Alex, when I talked about this yesterday, the person who said, well, we're not going to have an autopsy, Cinderella Guevara, and I guess this is her Cinderella story. First she says it's natural causes, then she says it's a heart attack. They put down a myocardial infarction, which is a heart attack, and then they changed it back to natural causes. And I saw the liberals who are pushing back on this. I mentioned this yesterday. You know, you see these articles, 3, 2, 1, conspiracy theories. The guy is 79 years old. It's time for him to die. Well, these are the same people who are backing Bernie Sanders, who is 75 when he takes office. He'll be 75, he's 74 now. Before the end of his first term, he'll be the same age as Justice Scalia. So there's a cognitive dissonance here on the people who say we shouldn't look at this closely. And the very fact is you played this clip, I played it yesterday, of the Church Committee hearings 41 years ago. The head of the CIA, William Colby, is talking about the ways that they have of killing people, making it look like natural causes, making it look like a heart attack. This is something that they have been working on to perfect for decades. They have an entire organization. That's their entire purpose, is to kill people covertly or overtly. And when you look
this is so widespread. I have had family that was in this business.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not even special. Like Texas is like the recruiting ground for the death squads. I mean, just the naivete of the public. They just have no idea.
And when I was doing the radio show, the statements from the guy who owned the Cibolo Ranch had not even come out yet. The fact that he found him with a pillow over his head and that his clothes
and they
were not
acted
wrinkled,
like that
that's
discredits
amazing.
me, asking, watch out if there's no autopsy. Watch out, they came out and announced this right away. That's standard in third world to say no foul play with no evidence. You know, this is so standard. They use that to discredit us. Oh, look, even Jones said this before the pillow. Go ahead.
Well, you know, the other thing we need to be concerned about, Alex, of course, last week, the Supreme Court had put a stay on Obama and the EPA's orders that would essentially shut down the coal industry, as Obama had promised. So that's a key part of this.
And that's trillions in the next decade for the oil companies.
And it's one of the key ways that they're going to create a global governance. Look, they've got 3 things. They've got open borders. They've got taking over our economy using climate control, setting up a global tax regime, and then taking over the economy and managing it from an international commission with these trade partnerships, the TPP, the TTIP. So you've got 3 prongs heading towards world government.
And it's all coming to completion in the next few years. And not just here. They're killing leaders overseas, appointing presidents and prime ministers. Everywhere, they are just accelerating like their lives are going to end if they don't. Have you seen all the mainstream articles about war with the U.S. and Russia, with U.S. and Saudi Arabian troops getting ready to clash with Russians?
Oh, yeah.
And the neocons on TV saying attack Russia? I mean, these people need to be stopped. They're like Hitler, you know, after the Eastern Front had already collapsed. I mean, the globalists are going to get everybody killed.
When you look at what Justice Kennedy is doing as well, when we talk about this internationalism, Justice Kennedy, who was appointed by Ronald Reagan, has been a leading proponent of using international law to alter our Constitution. And so, you know, here's somebody that was appointed by Ronald Reagan, just like Scalia was, but he takes exactly the opposite approach, the diametrically opposite approach to this. And we look at the people that they're touting as being the leading possibilities besides Loretta Lynch. They keep talking about this judge from India. The guy's got 2 Indian presidents. He was born in India. Are we going to have H-1B justices for the Supreme
That's
Court?
right.
We can't
That's it.
find somebody in America
That's it. They're
that
setting the
respects the
precedent
Constitution?
to get away with anything and everything. God bless you, David Knight. Great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it is such an insane time, and I'm glad we've got David Knight and other crew here in case they arrest me or kill me. I mean, I've gotten to that point. I mean, that's why I built a bigger operation, brought crew in, because I need like shark teeth if they take me out. Real leadership is having stuff prepared after you're gone, because it's about winning the war, not about me, folks. And I don't mean that to be dramatic, but I've been physically attacked, death threatened, you name it. I think, let me ask Wayne Madsen, investigative journalist, WayneMadsenReport.com. Wayne, I want to fund you and the crew to go down there and cover this. You say you want to go. If they try to act suspicious, if they try to block you from being there, I think that ratchets this up to pretty much certainty that they've been told to cover something up. I'm not saying they're involved. But Wayne, if this is foul play, you know, if Hillary cheated on the 6 coin toss that she won in a row, you know, if the sky's blue, if this is foul play, then, you know, if the Clintons are murderers, which is well known, you know, if the ocean's wet, then what does it signify that they've engaged in this assassination? It's a very bold move. And then why would they add all these conflicting statements in? I mean, it's so amazing. Wayne, what do you think really bottom line is happening here?
Well, I would preface my statement, you know, there's only been 3 members of the Supreme Court who have died while sitting on the bench. The last one was Chief Justice Rehnquist, but he was sick. He was in the hospital.
Cancer, on record.
Yeah, that didn't surprise anyone. And you have to go back to Associate Justice Vinson decades ago to find the last one who died on the bench. So here's the thing on this 4-4 balance they're talking about. As David said, you don't know which way Kennedy will go because he swings both ways, and I only mean that in the jurisprudence sense of the term. But it could be that we have a 5-3 court now with Kennedy swinging over to the so-called liberal side. But here's the issue too. If we see a suit against Ted Cruz's eligibility to run for the presidency come up through the federal appeals court to the Supreme Court, the Supreme Court can either delay it until they get that 9th member, or they can kick it back down to the federal appeals court, which means that whatever the appeals court rules will be, you know, the law of
That's
the
right.
land.
They can defer and make the appeals court the new Supreme Court.
Exactly. And the word is that Scalia, as an originalist, they call him in the Constitution, strict constructionist, probably would have ruled against Cruz's eligibility because he would have seen in the Constitution, look, there's, you know, this, he was born in Canada, you know, and it doesn't satisfy the definition of a natural born U.S. citizen. So there's a lot more at stake with this vacancy than some people may think.
It's huge. I mean, is this the biggest event in the 2016 election so far?
I would say it's you know, it's one of those shocking news events that you know, obviously it came up in the Republican debate the other evening, and that was, and I attended the Trump rally, which was held at the Sun Dome in Tampa, and right before he came out to a standing room only 16,000 people. I understand it was the largest number of people they've ever packed into that arena at the University of South Florida. But Trump had said he was going to sue. He was going to sue
Cruz.
because Cruz is ineligible. He's a Canadian. So we had Trump already say that, you know, there may be a potential Supreme Court case here, and then Scalia dies suddenly down in Texas.
I mean, look, all the evidence leans towards foul play, hanky-panky in my view, and you add to all this the rest of the craziness, Wayne, it is just over-the-top insane. I want to do one more segment with you just briefly and get into the Russia situation and the Ukraine situation, these proxy wars, Syria, and what the best thinking is on that front. And then Paul Watson joins us to continue the discussion of where Scalia went and died, leaving his security behind, is just an absolute insider Democrat command base, Obama command base, the whole county. We'll be back. Welcome back. You're listening to The Alex Jones Show. I'm Alex Jones. We're talking to Wayne Madsen, going right back to him in just a moment. And I am getting my crew saddled up to go down to South Texas and investigate. And we're getting ready to set it up and get Wayne on an airplane to come out and join them as well. In fact, I'll probably send 2 teams out on this. It's so important. We're going to see how folks behave once we get down there. Briefly, we have a new Hillary for Prison shirt. The other one has basically sold out. The classic one that became so popular, I promised it was limited edition. So is this one. I'm just going to have this out until the election ends. And it's her as the Joker. On the front, it says, "What difference does it make?" You can put that up on screen for folks. It's at InfoWarsStore.com if you want to see it. And what difference does it make? InfoWars.com. InfoWars.com on the right arm shoulder. And then on the back is the classic Hillary for Prison shirt. But it's not blue. It's on a black shirt. Hillary for Prison 2016 and beyond. We want her in prison in 2016 and beyond. InfoWars.com. And it's because she tries to intimidate people, and it's come out, blackmails reporters. They have to write the exact words she says. They have to lie and say, you know, drones don't exist. They have to say that Santa Claus is real, basically, but you know, George Washington didn't exist. I mean, this is what they're about. And then calling up comedy clubs and saying, we'll shut you down with the IRS if you let people make fun of her. This is a true pig. This is a true witch. I mean, I get attacked constantly. Good, attack, lie, do whatever you want, scum. I'm telling the truth. But see, this filth is a control freak. So get the shirt, support the InfoWar. I'm basically like a kamikaze in the InfoWar. And by the way, don't cry for me. I love it. I mean, when they etch my tombstone, they're not going to put on there that I bent over and was a coward. That doesn't mean I'm special. I wouldn't be special 200 years ago, but I'm a little special today. I'm just going to man up. And I love it, by the way. But I do want to be fueled for the fight. I want to be strong. I want to be able to send our reporters out, and I want to be able to have the reports, and I want to be able to fight the enemies, and that takes funding. We got a bunch of other specials and new specials at InfoWarsLife.com. Androplex is selling out, so that special's ending, but we have a big special on Super Male and Super Female Vitality, 20% off for just 1 week. And we have a President's Day, George Washington special. What is it, 20-something% off on all the incredible products with the George Washington sale for 24 hours only. 20% off all made in 1776, Evil, Patriot, First Amendment apparel. But now, shutting up about that, going back to Wayne Madsen, our investigative journalist, Wayne, the Russia situation, and I'm going to cover this after you're gone and show the articles for viewers and listeners, but it's Medvedev, as you know, last week saying, you know, look out, this can cause a wider war, a permanent war, a nuclear war, world leaders admitting it, Saudi Arabia announcing ground troops, all of this, the CIA saying prepare for imminent ISIS attacks in America. I mean, this is the group they funded. Where is all this going geopolitically, Wayne?
It's getting very serious. There's a report now that's appeared in several news outlets that Turkish troops are now in Ukraine on the Ukrainian-Crimean border. Crimea, that former part of Ukraine that Russia took back. It was retroceded back to Russia. And so we've got Turkish troops in Ukraine. We've got the United Arab Emirates sending also troops to Turkey, along with the Saudis sending troops.
And Turkey shelling heavily the Syrian government.
Yeah, and the UAE doesn't have much in the way of an army. They have foreign mercenaries that are actually led by Eric Prince, the former head of Blackwater. There's former U.S. Special Forces troops commanding these Colombians and South Africans.
Let me be clear, because you never go, you're not half-cocked. You're saying former Blackwater XZ, or whatever the name is this week, is actually going in as Merc forces. We know they've hired them, but and is actually fighting on the side of ISIS.
They're fighting in Yemen on the side of the Saudis, and it's well known that the Saudis support ISIS. And now they're going into Incirlik, which is the NATO base, where all these Saudi planes and troops are going with the Emirate troops. And the Emirates are basically foreign mercenaries working for Prince's new company called Reflex Response, or R2, which sounds an awful lot like R2P, Responsibility to Protect, that Hillary and Samantha Power and Susan Rice came up with, that got us into this mess to begin with. And here's the issue. The U.S. also has special forces in fighting for the Syrian Kurds and the Iraqi Kurds. And we could have a situation where retired special forces working for Prince and the UAE government will be shooting at current special forces troops in Syria fighting on behalf of the Syrian Kurds against ISIS and
Hold on. I got Paul Watson coming up, but you always, I'm not just saying this, folks. This guy is so accurate. This guy is just basically never wrong. Stay there. I didn't understand that part. I mean, I knew our special forces get really mad when they have to deliver weapons to Al-Qaeda or ISIS and they threaten them, but you're saying that there are Blackwater sheep dip troops that were in the position to be fighting U.S. forces that are finally fighting Al-Qaeda because of congressional heat. Wow. You talk about a synthesis of evil, a full spectrum evil. Stay there, Wayne. 2 more minutes. By the way, I'm going back to Wayne Madsen for about 3 minutes and then to Paul Watson, and he's going to be hosting the 4th hour. And I've got a bunch of other news I've got to get to as well. And I haven't been taking a lot of calls lately. Maybe Paul will do it in the 4th hour. I should be. I want to hear from you about Scalia. It's just there's so many facets to this that my head is just spinning. What this signifies. I mean, I've had so much energy since Saturday. Since that morning, I was up here working all Saturday on record, doing videos saying something big's about to happen. They're moving on every front. I just feel like we should be fighting harder. And then, boom, Scalia was already dead. The world financial meltdown, all of it. But you know, the crew points out to me, I skip breaks constantly. I don't plug things. I'm not funding our operation. Listener-wise, we are as successful as it gets, exponentially growing. Financially, we're just bringing in the money we need to operate at current levels. And I want to get a few more camera people, a couple more reporters. I don't want to have to sit there and obsess over where I send an investigative journalist like Wayne Madsen. I didn't send anybody to Davos this year because I didn't have the money. People go, oh, you're a failure. You don't have a helicopter. You don't have $100,000 Rolexes. I don't care about all that. Nothing against things, just that things get me places. Things are fuel. They're tools. But we need the funding to get there, so we sell the best non-GMO seeds. Great T-shirts that promote liberty. High-quality nutraceuticals. And I just didn't properly plug the fact that Anthroplex is selling out. It's still available for sale, but the special's over because in the next 24 hours, we'll sell down to the point of having to hold back some for folks that sign up for AutoShip who want that 10% discount. Because from now on, folks that are signed up with AutoShip will just never be sold out because we're going to hold back whatever number of AutoShip members we have because we have the computers to, do it to be able to tell so that you basically always get it and always get a refill. But that everybody else who isn't on AutoShip, unfortunately, when stuff sells out, it will be sold out. So Anthroplex is about to sell out, so that special just ended. But Anthroplex, again, is about to sell out, so now is the time to secure your bottle today before we run out at InfoWarsLife.com. We are being forced to take down our Super Male and Anthroplex combo special in order to hold back bottles of Anthroplex for AutoShip customers. But for this week only, you can get Super Male or Super Female Vitality for 20% off at InfoWarsLife.com. That's a huge special. Start fighting back and rebuilding your foundation. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today and secure your bottle of Anthroplex or Super Male Vitality before we sell out. That's InfoWarsLife.com. And then finally, sign up for the InfoWars Alex Jones Insider Newsletter at InfoWars.com/newsletter for free to get exclusive emails, videos, stories, photos, where if I'm in another country, now I'm not leaving the country, but my point is if I have to go underground, whatever, and we've been building an infrastructure for that. I don't plan to run off, but if they're like attacking and arresting everybody, I'm going to try to disappear, and still they'll be able to track us, but we'll be able to get stuff out via email. It's now reached that point, folks, okay? So InfoWars.com/newsletter. We need the giant base of patriots out there to be able to contact you. And so if you're not signed up there with one of your dummy emails, whatever, it doesn't matter, so that we can get in touch with you and you can get in touch with us, I don't know what to say. But Paul Revere needs to be able to talk to you and vice versa. You are Paul Revere as well. So InfoWars.com/newsletter and a lot of exclusive material, discounts, specials, you name it, just for folks that are signed up there. Now, going back to Wayne Madsen and WayneMadsenReport.com, also InfoWars.com correspondent. Wayne, I've been planning to send you to the RNC, DNC, which we're planning to do with crew, along with Richard Reeves. But I'm glad you do want to go to South Texas and cover that. But we're done talking about that for now. We'll obviously have you back in the next few days for an update as you research this. But separately, how would you say things are going for the Anglo-American power arm versus the Russian and Chinese power arm. And what else are you watching? What else do you expect to pop?
Well, I mentioned earlier this situation with Ukraine allowing Turks to come into their country. The Ukrainian government is a foreign, Soros-operated government anyway. It's corrupt. And we just had the first ever meeting between a patriarch of the Russian Orthodox Church and the pontiff of the Roman Catholic Church in Havana. That never happened before. And I'm sure what they discussed is if these two individuals come to an agreement and they can basically tell both sides in the Ukraine situation, back down, get rid of that phony government in Kiev.
That's right. What does that signify? For the first time in 2,000 years, these two original churches, you can argue who's older, meet for the first time. It's because it's saying, is Europe going to go to war with Russia? That's who, obviously, the pontiff represents, and the EU. In fact, I meant to cover that. You were absolutely right. Elaborate on that, sir. That is so huge. That shows us how close we are to World War III, and these institutions realize this. Was this not really a meeting of Russia with the Vatican?
Yeah, basically that's what it was. And what we see now, that the Russian Orthodox Church, which really can speak for a number of other Orthodox churches in the area, in the Middle East and in Georgia and Ukraine and elsewhere, they're in a position now, the Pope and the Patriarch, to tell the Ukrainians, look, you're with us, and if you want to keep playing with ISIS, that government's not going to be around, because if we put the word out to our people in Ukraine, they're going to be dragging people like Yatsenyuk out and hang them up.
So that shows how deadly this battle is, this battle of five armies now that you see unprecedented.
Well, the Wahhabis, right, the Wahhabis are talking about a new crusade. And when you see the Pope and the Patriarch meet for the first time, maybe they're saying, okay, you want a crusade? You're going to get your crusade. And Erdogan keeps supporting these guys, these ISIS guys, and he's made this concordat with the Wahhabis that run Saudi Arabia. If I were Erdogan, I'd be looking at maintaining control over what was Constantinople and that was the headquarters of the Orthodox
of the Byzantine.
And, yeah, the Greeks have wanted that holy church, the Hagia Sophia, back forever, and now Erdogan says he's going to turn it back into a working mosque. I think we're on the verge of a major second crusade, and meanwhile, Obama goes to his first mosque ever as president in Baltimore, and it's a mosque affiliated with the Saudi Wahhabis.
That's what I want to say. I've got electrical chills all over my body. I've never had this in my life. Okay, I mean, I've walked out of a thing and a mugger with a butcher knife came at me, and I didn't have this much electricity in me. I can feel the epic shifting. It's so historical. It's so beyond an X-Files episode. I don't know how the average person isn't completely freaked out. Now finish up with this point. Because I interrupted you earlier with another subject, which you then went into the Pope, thank God. Wayne, I mean, you need your own show for an hour a day here on InfoWars. I mean, just so you're not interrupted. Looking at this, what does it signify that Prince's new group, and I actually have seen that, I'd forgotten to cover it, is involved in different parts of the Middle East at loggerheads with other factions in our government actually fighting ISIS, and also in Ukraine, to end up having mercenaries formerly from the U.S. and taken from the U.S. battling U.S. troops. I mean, are they that dishonorable that they'll actually do that? Or is there a level that these mercenaries or Eric Prince might actually stop their behavior at?
Under John Brennan, the CIA has become an active ally of ISIS, the Saudis, and the Turks. He's a Saudi file. He's,
of course, the word is he converted. He converted to Islam. I mean, that's pretty much been confirmed.
Yeah, and I can almost believe that. So here we have his, and look, it was Prince was tied up with the CIA when he was running Blackwater, and they were, and Brennan was one of the architects of the torture and rendition program that Blackwater was intimately involved in. So here we have the active special forces still under the control of the Pentagon, possibly getting into a ground war in Syria. With these R2 people coming in from Abu Dhabi.
Well, I'll tell you, Prince is one arrogant person who thinks he's going to get away with that. Absolutely,
and he's also affiliated with the Opus Dei movement. So, this is a little bit of Tom Clancy, Dan Brown, Da Vinci Code, and you mentioned X-Files. Throw it all in together, and that's what you got right here. Just a big mess.
Wayne, incredible analysis. Please join us on the Nightly News tonight if you can. Thank you so much for your amazing reportage, sir.
You bet, Alex.
Clean, pure drinking water. You can't survive without it. But where do you get it? Alexa Pure Pro is a brand new, groundbreaking, gravity-fed water filtration system that is like no other. The Alexa Pure Pro transforms water from virtually any fresh source into clean, healthy drinking water, pairing the unprecedented superfiltration power of an all-new gravity block core with a hybrid chromatic shell. It removes up to 99.999% of impurities, including bacteria, viruses, fluoride, disinfectants, volatile organic contaminants, and hormones. Filter capacity up to 5,000 gallons. Stainless steel construction. Easy assembly. Low maintenance. Replacement filters are simple to install. And now, as part of an exclusive limited time introductory offer, you can save $20 off the retail price and get free shipping. This is a limited time offer, so order your unit today and receive free shipping and $20 off. Go to InfoWarsStore.com or call 888-253-3139.